I'm Easy Racer, and this is the RadioMaster TX16S. And this controller is, in my opinion, the best controller you can buy for the money for FPV. You might be thinking, Easy Racer, that's a bold statement with all the other controllers on the market right now, like the Jumper T16 or the TBS Tango 2, and it is a bold statement, but I will be explaining why I think that is, and the features, and just going over what I like about the controller. So the first thing is that this is a multi-protocol radio, which is one of the main selling points of this controller. Meaning what? Meaning you can bind to almost any 2.4 gigahertz protocol that you want. It can bind to toys, it can bind to Spectrum, Futaba, FlySky, FrSky, whatever you want. And that's really, really nice. You can have whatever receiver you want on any quad, and this thing will be able to bind to it, no problem. And it has a JR bay in the back, which is standard in controllers. But yeah, it has one, and you can put Crossfire in there, and you'd have a multi-protocol, multi-purpose beast of a controller that can bind to anything, in addition to having Crossfire. So it's a very capable controller right off the bat. The second big selling point of this controller is that it has a screen. It has a screen. It's a very nice screen. It's pretty big. It makes up a little more than, or a little less than half of the actual base of the controller, or a little less than half of the controller, and it's a really nice screen. It's bright, so if you're on a sunny day, if you're out on a sunny day, or you're just around a lot of light, then you'll be able to see it moderately okay. If it's outside and it's a really sunny day, it'll be a bit dim and a bit hard to see, but it is bright enough that you'll be able to change settings or whatever it is you need to do while you're outside. The other really cool thing about this screen is that it's touchscreen capable. I say capable and not it just has a touchscreen, because the touchscreen isn't available to use yet. And which that's a bit confusing. And for those of you who have been flying since this thing's launch, you might remember that when it was being released, the touchscreen was one of the things that was being hyped up a whole lot, because that's only something that you would see on the higher end of radios, like the upper echelon of controllers for hobbyists. And for that to come on a radio that's around $150 was previously not heard of. So people were really excited about that. But it's not able to be used yet, because with the current version of OpenTX that's out, it doesn't utilize the touchscreen, which is unfortunate. So in the OpenTX developers are working on it, and they're not being paid for their time, so it's understandable that it's taking a while. But it is nice that it is touchscreen capable, and the update should be out shortly. I did buy this thing 6 months ago, and they were saying it would be out soon prior to that, so I'm not sure how much longer it'll be, but yeah, it is nice to know that it is touchscreen capable. The next thing is this thing has USB ports on the bottom and the top. The bottom one is for charging, and it doesn't accept data, and the top one is for data. Now you might be thinking, why would you have two USB ports? That doesn't seem advantageous. Well, the reason being for comfort, which is nice for them to think of. For the bottom, if you want to charge, this is available for charging, and for the top is for if you're using a simulator, or if you're using a simulator. And the nice thing about that is if you're using the simulator, you don't have this cable poking out at your torso, and it's a lot more comfortable to hold compared to a radio that has the cable coming out the bottom for long periods of time, which is really nice. It's really nice to have thought about that. While we're on the subject of the USB ports, at the bottom here, there are actually two UARTs which are basically data ports for devices. Now, I don't know how these would be useful or how to use them, but there are people who might find that useful. You could stick maybe a GPS on here or something like that. The other thing is these gimbals. These gimbals are really nice. I've only used a Taranis QX7 before, and that's the only thing I have to compare it to. And if those are potentiometer gimbals, it's not really a fair comparison. However, these feel like night and day. It's fantastic how smooth these are. And when I first got it, it was like discovering fire. You know, these are really smooth gimbals. They're Hall gimbals, and I got the Hall gimbal version with touchscreen and the Hall gimbals. And the nice thing about Hall gimbals is they have the actual gimbal itself does not have any moving parts touching the measuring elements. I don't know if that's the proper terminology, but that's basically what they are. And it's basically just two magnets. They don't have to touch each other. And that makes for a lot less wear and tear over time versus a potentiometer, which has to rotate or tear, and it's just a lot more likely to break down over time with wear and use. So these have lasted a while. The only complaint I have with these now is after around 6 months, they are starting to become a bit inaccurate. So the throttle will be like 99% when it's all the way down, or the roll will be jittering off maybe 1% to the left or the right, which is minor. It's not an issue at all, but that is just something to note, that they do eventually degrade. I don't know if that's just me being too rough with it, or if it's just degrading over time. I'm not sure, but they are really nice gimbals, and yeah, they're really nicely made. The next thing is these grips. Now, these grips are actually an update from the Jumper T16, and they are raised out more and have this nice divot, or not divot, but this nice raised area at the top for your front finger, and it's really comfortable to hold. I can attest to, after using this for almost 300 hours in the simulator, it is really comfortable to hold for long periods of time. The only issue with this is it's a bit heavy, so it will put strain on your wrists and your lap after holding it for a while, but there's nothing to really do about that. It's a box controller, it's going to be a bit heavy, but yeah, it's really comfortable to hold. The other cool thing is that when you turn on, the lights start going from side to side in a line. I don't know, I find that really cool. I don't know, it's just neat.
Welcome to OpenTX.
And the speaker is loud.
Switch warning.
It's pretty loud, which is nice if you have telemetry in your receiver and you want call outs. This thing can do that. It has a really nice loud speaker, and you can actually mod the speaker to be louder. There are videos online of that, on how to mod the speaker to make it louder, but stock it is already pretty loud. And have it right next to my microphone, so you can hear it, it's full volume. I usually have it turned down to around 30% so as not to disturb my family members, because it is that loud and it does get annoying after a while. The other cool thing is it has a metal roller, which is an update from the Jumper T16, which had a plastic roller. And after using this for a long time and putting it through a lot of rolls, it has still not degraded in quality at all. It still feels really nice. It still feels really nice to use. And the button is actually located on the bottom of the roller. You don't want to hit the top, or else it'll start breaking. You don't want that. You want to hit the bottom, not the top. Bottom, not the top, because that's where the button is on the PCB. Now, you may have noticed that the RadioMaster TX16S looks an awful lot like the Jumper T16, and that's not a coincidence. And don't quote me on this, but the person who designed the Jumper T16 broke off from Jumper and started RadioMaster, which is this and made everything they wanted to have in a radio that wasn't in the jumper. And I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what I heard. Don't quote me on that, but that is what I'm pretty sure happened. So that's why it looks like the jumper T16. The person who designed it broke off, and they had the rights to the design, so they went and created this thing. Oh, the other thing. It has sliders on either side here. I don't know what you would use those for, maybe like an incremental throttle limit. And they seem fine. They have a divot in the middle, and they kind of stop in the middle. I mean, they're just sliders, they feel fine. So yeah. Oh yeah, and this has a battery bay which holds 18650s. That's cool. You can put in different whatever 18650s you want, different capacities. So if you want, and the other cool thing is this is bigger than the one in the jumper T16, so you could make a 21700 lithium ion pack and stick it in here instead of using 18650s, and you would probably get a lot more battery life out of this thing. So yeah, that's cool. You could also put LiPo batteries in here. There are several companies that make LiPo battery packs for it, and yeah, it's overall just a nice system. You know, a nice big battery bed. There are lots of options, and it's nice and versatile. And you might notice I have broken a switch on here because I hit it against this table. But that's bound to happen after a while with controllers, and it's not difficult to replace it, so I'll get around to that eventually. The other cool thing about this, I know I said the other cool thing, there are a lot of cool things on this. One second. It matches my cat somewhat. See, do you see the contrast? Look. They look the same. They look exactly the same. So yeah, that's, you know, the silver and the black and the white is a really nice color scheme to me, and it matches my cat, so it's a win-win. Thank you guys for watching.